Some of the best films have been shot on RED cameras, but so have some of the worst films. As many of us know, right now is a really exciting time for videographers, especially with all of these new cameras coming out. There's an EOS R5, there's a C300 Mark III, and all these cameras are just incredible as far as specs. I mean, 8K internal RAW recording. I mean, come on, how bizarre can you get? But one of the things I realized as I was researching all these cameras, 2 years ago, I found myself in a very similar situation where I was researching cameras and I was looking and I was trying to figure out what camera was right for me. And I settled on the Panasonic GH5S. Sure, it doesn't have IBIS, but I have a Ronin S. Sure, it doesn't have good autofocus, but I have hands, all right? You know, I can pull focus. That's what I've been doing on the GH4 for so long with cinema lenses. So that's a great camera for me, and it shoots in all the codecs that I could possibly want. Not only that, but it's sharp. It's got Vlog. It has basically every single feature that a videographer could want. And so I'm searching through all these cameras thinking, oh, the C300 Mark III. Look at the dynamic range. I downloaded some files off the internet and I was playing in Resolve and I was, boosting the shadows, and I was so impressed with how clean the image was. And I was like, this is such a great camera. This is the camera that I need. And I was like, well, if I can't get that, then maybe I'll get the C200. That's half the price, and that shoots 12-bit RAW, and that's got great autofocus, and it's got this and that. And I found myself just going crazy over all these specs, obsessing over which camera to buy. And yet, there in my closet, actually I'm sitting here talking to it right now, I've got a camera. And it reminded me of a quote that Rian Johnson said.
I really believe that your only job is to make as many movies as you can. Don't get precious. Don't worry about making them look professional. Don't worry about shooting with great equipment. Don't worry about any of that. Shoot with your phone. Use your friends as actors. Anything you do, just make them, and develop, get better and better at telling a story with a camera.
What is the best camera for me right now? And the truth is, the best camera for me is the camera that I have. Not because it's got great resolution, not because it has 10-bit, but just because of the fact that I can use it to tell stories. And that's really what all this comes down to. That's why I fell in love with filmmaking in the first place, is storytelling. When I first started, I could care less what camera I was shooting on. I started out on an iPhone, all right, my iPhone 4S of all things, okay? That took video, one of the first iPhones to ever be able to take video. I started out on that, and then I progressed to a T3i of all things. I learned on that, and then finally I got access. I started to understand cameras, and I started to access these other things. But it was always about the story. It's always about visual storytelling, the way that you tell a story with a camera, the language of film, all that stuff has nothing to do with your camera. I was watching this YouTube video, and it was created by director David Sandberg. And in that video, he said during his early filmmaking days, he was so obsessed with resolution. When he got into Hollywood and started making feature films, he realized how little resolution mattered. So take it from somebody who makes big, giant feature Hollywood films. Resolution matters way less than we think. Some of the best films have been shot on RED cameras, but so have some of the worst films. Some of the greatest cinematographers use Arri Alexa cameras. So do some of the worst cinematographers. So I think it's time, for me at least, to stop obsessing over what camera I buy and start obsessing over how to tell the best story I can. And that is where I'm going to leave it today. So if you like this video, feel free to hit the subscribe button, like it if you want. I hope this was helpful for you. If you're in the process of looking for a camera right now, don't over obsess over it. Sure, maybe it's time for you to upgrade your resolution. Maybe you need something better than a phone because you want to practice with a lens. Check out my epic low budget filmmaking kit. Maybe that'll help you. You don't need a camera with overpowered specs. You just need a camera. And you just need a camera that'll let you practice telling stories.